On September 21st, Netflix released a new miniseries about Jeffrey Dahmer. The show is a retelling of all the events that took place from 1978 to 1994. If you are unaware of who Dahmer is and or what he did, let me summarize it for you. Jeffrey Dahmer was a serial killer who murdered 17 males in very disturbing ways. He would rape, dismember, commit necrophilia, and engage in cannibalism. There are now dozens of shows and documentaries made about Jeffrey Dahmer, so the question at hand is there really a reason to keep retelling a story that has already been told so many times? And because it's been getting criticized for simply being a story about Dahmer, is it really a bad thing? It depends. A quote from Evan Peters, the lead actor, is, "We had one rule going into this from Ryan, that it would never be told from Dahmer's point of view. It's called the Jeffrey Dahmer story, but it's not just him and his backstory, it's the repercussions. It's how society and our system had failed to stop him multiple times because of racism, homophobia. It's just a tragic story." This may have been what they attempted to do, but for the first 6 episodes, this isn't really true. With how this show was made, some people are even saying that they feel bad for Dahmer, which I'm sure was not the creator's intention, but you need to be careful when covering a subject like this, especially when the story is true. Another fault of this show is how it seems to romanticize the killing, especially in episode 6. This episode covers Tony Hughes, who was deaf, mute, and murdered by Jeffrey Dahmer. The ways in which they decide to cover his story have been reported as upsetting, uncomfortable, and disturbing to watch. Dahmer has also since release been heavily criticized by relatives of one of Dahmer's victims, Errol Lindsay. They've said, quote, "I'm not telling anyone what to watch. I know true crime media is huge right now, but if you're actually curious about the victims, my family, the Isabels, are pissed about the show. It's re-traumatizing over and over again, and for what? How many movies, shows, documentaries do we need?" She also has spoken out about how if the show benefited them in some way, it wouldn't feel as harsh and careless. She says, "It's sad that they're just making money off of this tragedy. That's just greed." No one related to any of the murders committed by Jeffrey Dahmer was even notified of the production of this miniseries. It asks the question of if these creators are continuing to retell the story as a way of commenting on that tragedy or exploiting it. Overall, I think this is something that everyone should form their own opinions on to see where they stand. There isn't ever going to be one right answer. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Disagree? Who knows?